Hey everybody, and welcome to Let's Look at War of the Human Tanks. I can't tell you how excited I am just to be uttering that title, War of the Human Tanks. If nothing else, an early candidate for one of my favorite, just literal titles of 2014 so far. Man, it's hard to get used to saying 2014. In any case, what the heck is War of the Human Tanks? Well, it's all right there in the title, isn't it? There's a war and there's human tanks. There's like android, mechanized style fighting machines that we're going to be using here. It is a strategy game crossed very, very heavily with a visual novel, and I picked this up on Steam. It's $10, $9 for its opening week sale, but I'm pretty sure that is going to be over by the time this video goes up. It's interesting. I really, really like and actually respect the strategy side of the game a ton. Whether or not you enjoy this game overall is largely going to hinge on how you feel about visual novels and kind of like the anime style of storytelling as well as art. And I'm not trying to pass judgment on anybody, it's not my cup of tea. And that makes War of the Human Tanks kind of a mixed affair to me because the strategy stuff I'm really intrigued by, visual novel stuff not really tickling my fancy too much. But if you are the kind of person who can get into visual novels like this, and you'll get a feel for what I mean pretty shortly, this might be something that is kind of a sleeper surprise hit that maybe you might find yourself having a good time with. In any case, we're going to load in here. I'm going to start by going, we're actually going to do things in kind of reverse order here. I'm going to go to basically my, save that's an hour in, and then I'm going to pull back and we'll do Attack the Armored Train as the mission. But this is what happens in the interlude after the Attack the Armored Train mission. So, we're going to start by talking about the strategy, because the strategy of the game, or the strategy part of the game, is what I've enjoyed the most so far. But it is really divided in, you'll do a 10 to 15 minute strategic game, and then you'll have, maybe 5 to 10 minutes of visual novel type dialogue and character development and stuff. Kinda cool. So, basically, this is just we're preparing for a battle. You can kind of picture the strategy side of this game as almost it's a grid-based strategy game, so it's almost like a Fire Emblem or an XCOM, superficially at least. You're going to move your units around a grid, and then they'll fight each other, mixed with something like a battleship, because you don't know where the enemies are, and you're doing recon to try to figure out when they are, or where they are, sorry, and sometimes you're just shooting artillery blasts into squares and hoping that the enemy is there, and eventually you uncover more of the map, and you can win. In any case, you'll see that as we get involved. It's going to move pretty quickly once we get involved as well. When we complete missions, we get supplies. You can see supplies down here. Those are just in the form of crates. And we can use those crates to do things like develop new tanks or assemble existing tanks, like tanks we already have blueprints for, in order to kind of flesh out our roster. We can only field 7 tanks total on the map. I'm going to get to the gameplay as soon as possible, I promise, so you understand what the hell I'm talking about. So we already have enough tanks, but maybe we want to develop, some new modules. We could develop, Move +1 for 7,000 crates. Oh my god, that is 70,000 crates. Never mind. This would give all of our tanks +1 movement. That is crazy good. We don't want that. We're gonna instead maybe develop a new tank. Why don't we try to develop a new shock tank? This will cost us 1,500 crates. And this will make the shock tank a little bit better. And maybe we can try to develop a new assault tank as well, which will make our assault tank a little bit better. And we can also assemble some tanks if we want to. So why don't we try to just make a barrage tank here. And how many, we currently have 0 assault tanks on this level, so we might as well make one of those, maybe 2 of those. And do we have any scout tanks? That's the other thing I'm looking at. Scout tanks. We have 0, so we should make 2 of those. And good to go. Okay. So I'm just going to fight a free battle here to kind of explain what the hell is going on. And this is not turn-based, really. It's kind of like a hybrid turn-based in real time. So why don't we fight, not the railway, because we'll do that mission next. We'll fight Yumi Shirogahara. Yumi Shirogahara. I tried. Sincerely doing my best there. I should mention, of course, that this is a game that is localized. It was originally released in Japan and in Japanese, I believe, and then it was localized by the company that came out with the game on Steam. So, before every battle, I've already done the assembling and the, research, but we have to choose how to put our troops out on the battlefield. So you have to have a command tank. That's kind of like your king if we're talking about chess. So we'll take this, and we're going to put our king, right over here. And then we want to have a mix of other tanks. So you can think about it like barrage tanks or like long-range artillery. We want to have a couple of those. We might as well have our highest leveled one. And we're going to put her over here. And we'll put another barrage tank over here. And these are long-range artillery that we can use to bombard the enemy from a distance. Then we want to have some scout tanks. These are tanks that can move very far and also have a great recon skill so they can see enemies from far away, which will allow our long-range artillery support to then do damage to them. We also want a couple of assault tanks here. These are basically just going to be heavy-hitting I don't know what you would necessarily call it. This is going to be our 7th tank, by the way, so we're not going to use any shock tanks, but that's fine. Like, heavy hitting, like, standard kind of, like, they're the grunts, but also they do a lot of damage. The shock tanks are basically just cannon fodder that you kind of run them into the enemy and then self-destruct them. So, now that we've got our formation here, as you can see, we're actually just going to start the game. And this is a free battle, which is basically just, you know, you get one free battle between story missions that helps you practice your tactics, and also you can get extra crates as a result. So what we're looking for here is this connecting thing. As it connects, we will be able to do moves with our enemies. Okay, so with our units. So we have our assault is ready to move, and our king, our command tank, is ready to move, but we can't move them yet because they're being blocked by other troops. Okay, now we can start to move here. So the enemy took a shot, and we can see where they're shooting from over there. Okay, good. All right, so now we can take a second to pause because, you know, this is, you know, while you're kind of giving orders, the game doesn't move, if that makes sense. Otherwise, it's pretty frantic and pretty frenetic, so it's got this kind of hybrid real-time turn-based thing. It's like Plants vs. Zombies when the solar energy comes down and you like click it frantically and then you have kind of like a wait-and-see period. That's what we've got going on here. As soon as you see your units connect, you want to click on them as soon as possible, then you can take a second to think. Alright, so we have a recon unit. We are going to move her over here. And if there's enemies around, we'll see them, and then we can attack them and kill them. Typically, unless you're fighting like a really heavily armored foe, like a train or something like that, one hit is enough to destroy the enemy. So, okay, we have another move here with our assault tank. So I'm going to move our assault tank over here. And maybe we'll do just like a random attack into the ether. And, you know, if the square says unknown, that means we don't know what's on the square, as one might expect. I'm not going to move yet. I kind of fucked up with my placement of my tanks. I think it's making it pretty difficult for me to actually move out here. Alright, that was maybe a lucky shot, but the enemy was able to hit us there. This is a assault tank, so we're gonna move this out here. That's not really the best place, and I'm gonna try to attack like right here, because I think this may have been where our shot... Oh, this is a barrage tank, sorry. But we got lucky, and you know, we knew that our troop there had been hit, so... Our troop in that area had been hit. Oh my god, that was the... That's such bullshit. That's so bad from, like, explaining what happens. You're like, why did you just win? Well, the enemy has a command tank as well, and if you kill the command tank, you win. I didn't expect the enemy's command tank to just be that far out on the battlefield. It's like killing the king in chess or getting a checkmate, right? If our command tank had been hit and killed, we would have lost, but we killed their command tank and killed them within, like, 3 turns. So that was a total accident, and I feel like that does not do a very good job of explaining what the hell's going on, but that's okay, because we'll move on to a mission soon enough. So, let's see how many crates we get. 1,500. It's not really that much, but that's okay. And let's save our game now. So I'm gonna save over the existing one. It gave us an extra 1,500 crates. We can make some more tanks if we wanted to, but I don't think that's necessary for now. So now I'm gonna go load into Attack of the Armored Train, and we'll do another strategic game here, just to show you one of the cooler missions, I think, because that one went way too quickly. That was basically like the tutorial mission that we played again. We have 11 tanks here, shock scouts, and we only have 200 crates. So we don't need to worry about like research or anything like that. Just need to worry about deploying here. So we'll start by deploying our command tank. Oh wait, they're already on the field? Let me look at my formation here. Oh good, everyone's already on the field. So this mission's a little different. Normally you win a mission either by wiping out the enemy force completely, and if you wipe them out completely, you get more crates, because every enemy unit that you kill, you get more crates. That helps you become better in the future with your, you know, preparations after the battle and prior to battles, interludes, if you will. So you can wipe out all the enemy human tanks, which is what all these things are here, in case you're wondering what the namesake for the game is. You can wipe out their command tank, which is our Heshiko here. Or sometimes there are objective-based missions. Like this one, these kind of parallel lines here are train tracks, and we have to destroy an armored train that will show up like 3 or 4 turns in order to stop the enemy from being able to get supplies. So I have 2 barrage, like artillery style tanks. I have 2 scouts, which are the like light green helmet, and then I have 2 assaults, which are the dark green helmet, and then our command is Heshiko with the blue hair. So why don't we just sortie here and get started? And this is kind of a cooler mission because it's objective based. I'm sorry that the other mission ended so weirdly, but kind of outside of my out of my hands. By the way, if you're wondering what like 100 here is, this is just like the percentage of the fighting force that's still available. So as we kill enemies, that number will lower. So we're gonna move our assault troop out here. Don't see anything, but maybe we'll just attack into the ether anyway. We might get lucky and manage to take out an enemy. No such luck. Okay. And we actually will move our command unit out here. She has really good recon skills. So she recons in like a tetranomino. And that can reveal some extra space. I didn't really use the recon skill too much, but we'll do that with our scouts here if I don't encounter anybody. So we'll move our scout up to here. Oh, we did encounter somebody, so we will kill them. And basically, we're going to try to kind of stay behind the train tracks here and just use our artillery to do as much damage to the tank as is possible when it shows up. But we... Oh, where did you come from? That's totally going to destroy one of my assault troops. Without any recourse whatsoever. That's really shitty. Okay. Well, at the very least, we'll move out here, and we'll be able to... I don't like using our recon to destroy just cannon fodder like this, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So we've destroyed a couple of enemy troops. They've destroyed one of ours. Let's start establishing like a pretty decent front line again here. So we have an assault troop, and we'll move that assault troop up, and then we'll just attack into the ether, and maybe we'll get lucky. No such luck. Okay. And we're going to keep moving out here. So what I want to do is like be behind the tanks and then just use my artillery to do as much damage as possible. Probably not going to get anything with this recon. If there was an enemy there, we'd have a serious problem. Okay, I'm going to move our artillery up ever so slightly. And we can do recon with them, but they're really bad at recon. It only gives you like one square. So instead, this is where the battleship kind of part of the strategy comes in. Is like, if I was an enemy, where would I be? Maybe right here? You just kind of shoot and you're like, hey, my schooner shoots B7. Maybe I'll get lucky. And I did. I actually hit the train, which is great. But it's also shitty that the train is already out there and I didn't know. So we're going to attack maybe here next, and maybe this will also hit part of the train. It did. Beautiful. So we've got to hit the train 10 times in 10 different areas. In order to kill it. This is going to be difficult. It is going to be able to destroy a lot of our enemies, or sorry, a lot of our units very easily. So recon troops should be going in soon. First we have our command troop, who I'm just trying to keep as safe as possible, but we will use her to do damage as well. Okay, this is what I want. So now we can use recon, and this allows us to do like long range kind of reconnaissance to figure out where enemies are. In this case, we really want to know where the train is. And there it is. Okay, so now we can figure out how to hit it effectively. So, let's move our scout troop up here. You might be wondering why... Oh, I can't attack it. You might be wondering why I'm not moving it up a little bit further. The reason for that is the train attacks in like a... Ooh, this is not going to be good. The train attacks in like a tetranomino of its own. So if we put our actual human tanks in certain placements, it could just completely destroy us. Like destroy 2 or 3 enemies in a single hit. So we want to be very careful about the way that we place our units here. But we also want to be smart about it because we need to make sure that we can still position and hit the actual places of the train that are necessary. So I'm not too worried about the other human tanks on the enemy side behind this. So this is the strategic element of the game, and I really like this aspect of the game a whole lot, and a whole lot more than I thought I would. I think the game does tutorialization pretty poorly. It took a lot of kind of like finicking around by myself to actually just figure out what the hell I'm supposed to be doing. But once I figured it out, I've been having a very good time with it, and I think like this is really begging for a multiplayer mode. Like that's the thing that's most woefully lacking in this game, in my opinion, right now, is the fact that there's no multiplayer. If there was multiplayer and you could actually play this against somebody else and bypass the story, or at least, you know, play the story and then play the multiplayer mode to kind of keep the replayability up, I think that would be awesome. I'm keeping my valuable troops just kind of way back here so the tank can't hit us. Just gonna keep doing recon with my scout soldiers, and we'll allow the assault troops. I can't really attack what I want to attack here, and I'm gonna stay away. We're just gonna put it on standby. Yeah, so like I really like this aspect of the game. It's the story aspect of the game that doesn't necessarily tickle my fancy as much as I might like it to. So, I think if I move you up here, you may be able to attack. Oh, you can't. That's really bad. So I need to kill this dickbag right here. Otherwise, he could kill my king. And I hate to have my recon unit waste his turn, or waste her turn, I guess I should say, by doing that instead of doing a recon on the tank, because now it makes it way harder for our barrages to actually hit. But we should be fine anyway, because I'll recon right here. Ooh, where's the tank? Oh, there it is. Okay, so let's start doing more barrages here with our artillery. So this is kind of a cool objective-based mission, different than just kind of like the standard kind of chess style that we had going on earlier. You are going to go on recon, I guess. It's like the worst recon ever, but whatever. No reason to attack with you, so we'll just put you on standby. Can you actually hit somewhere? Yes! Okay, so this is going way better than I did when I played the mission last time. I basically lost all of my units except for one and was still able to beat the train. I got very lucky in that sense. Oh, come on! So their battleshipping actually worked out very well for them there. And they were able to hit me when I didn't expect that they would be able to. Oh, so there was a shot that just came from over there. That really frightens me. I'm actually going to move my command unit back one, and the recon's not going to do too much for me here, probably. But I really want to keep my command unit safe, obviously, otherwise we'll find ourselves in a very difficult position. We see the train again. Recon very useful there. I still can't really do too much with our, like, assault troop here, so we're just going to recon here. And I might want to move my, like, assault troop back a little bit, but I'm hoping that they actually just move the train forward so that I can hit it more likely. That makes sense. Okay, recon troop, please. Recon troop, please. Recon. Hey, there we go. So we're going to move forward one with the recon troop, and then recon, like, right here, and hopefully we'll see the train. And we do, so now we can actually hit it with our artillery. So we'll hit it. Oh, we can actually hit this with our assault on this turn as well if we get another opportunity to do so. So we've only got to hit the tank another 2 times. Oh, please tell me that my command unit doesn't die. Oh, that was so close. Okay, let's move our artillery unless the artillery can actually hit. No, they can't. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do here is move my command unit over, and then if I'm... might as well recon, I guess. But then if I move my artillery over a little bit, that should give me the opportunity to at least hit it on the next turn. If the train moves backwards a little bit on this turn, I might as well just put it on standby. Oh, come on, assault. You had a chance there, and you blew it by not getting your turn fast enough. So it might seem like this is pretty tension-free, but there actually is a whole lot of tension going on here, in my opinion, because they're basically playing it like Battleship, and they're like firing barrages at me, trying to find my command unit. Remember, if they kill my command unit, they'll win instantly. So that's really scary. But if I manage to hit their train another 2 times, then I should be good to go. So I think if I attack like directly forward, this actually will hit the train and maybe even do damage. Oh, okay, maybe not. Oh no. So one of our barrages is going to be killed here. That's very unfortunate. But we can get retribution for that kill with our command unit. And it's a little risky because it reveals the position of our command unit, but the enemy tanks are doing a pretty good job of keeping me at bay here. I still think we're going to win this mission, but I have lost this mission before. I'm just waiting for recon to get available. Oh no, we're going to be killed! They used a shock troop that actually self-destructed, and it is going to kill my command unit. Yep, so we actually lost that mission, even though it looked like it was going pretty well. Poor play on my part, I guess, and we get the result of a defeat there, so that's pretty interesting. I'm disappointed that we lost that, but at least that shows the game is not easy. Even though this is a relatively early, or this mission is relatively early on in the game, the AI is pretty formidable, and because of the kind of non-traditional strategy kind of game context of it, even though I've played a lot of strategy games in the past, not that I'm necessarily the best at them, a lot of grid-based strategy in particular, those skills are not necessarily transferable. It's constantly keeps you on your feet, and the fact that so much of the map is covered by the fog of war keeps things uncertain. So I've gushed a little bit about the strategy part of the game. Now we're going to load into that existing save, the one you saw me do the free battle in that I won very easily. And we're just going to move on to the next episode here. And then we'll talk about the stuff of the game that I'm not necessarily that fond of. And I should point out that this is not me saying I think this would be a better game without this, because this is a game that is clearly targeted at like a very specific niche of game players. Without this, it might lose a lot of its charm, but for me, the visual novel stuff that we kind of get here, the dialogue, it's plotting and a little pandering, and it's kind of tedious, and it just keeps me from doing the strategy. The game's probably like a full 50-50 split, at least in my experience so far, between visual novel stuff and strategy stuff, and I really like the strategy stuff. Not a fan of the visual novel stuff, so it brings the experience down as a whole for me. Basically, the way that the story's going right now, it's the end. You're gonna think I'm making this up. The Empire of Japan, or Japan, ruled the islands of Japan for like 1,000 years, but now there's a kingdom, like a rogue splintered kingdom, that is trying to take over Imperial Japan, not Japan. Any similarities to real places, people, or things is purely coincidental. So basically there's a war. There's a war between the Empire, Imperial Japan, which you are a part of, and the Kingdom, which is kind of trying to take over and conquer Japan. And we're fighting on the side of the Empire. So 20 years ago, mysterious electronic particles were detected in various locations all over Japan. People shortly began calling them radiotoxic particles. In areas filled with these particles, electronic devices acted up and human beings went insane. This nationwide chaos was quieted down by the introduction of human-like biological weapons, human tanks. This is actually a really good introduction to what's going on in the game right now, despite this being like the third or fourth mission. While less intelligent than humans, their physical performance was highly superior. These features were marvelously convenient to the humans who made use of them. At first, they hadn't been the purpose of their creation. Using the opportunity presented by the confusion across the land, both the Empire and Kingdom threw human tanks into the ongoing war. The, war of the human tanks. Now you understand. The new weapons, far removed from their original purpose, quickly covered the entirety of Japan and brought about a new kind of chaos. The human tank proxy war grew more and more intense, whilst tens of thousands of human tanks were assembled and destroyed. Although the war once looked like it might continue for all eternity, people started to see an end when the Kingdom gained dominance. The royal army that possesses a considerable number of tanks, and the Imperial army whose complete defeat is just around the corner. So we're the underdogs. And this is an Imperial Strategy Council. I'm going to read a lot of this dialogue. I apologize for that. But who would have imagined things would change so much in only a month? Ho, ho, ho! I am Santa Claus. Unfreezing Daihone, I still wonder if it was a wise decision. Word Daihone. Basically, our character is like every 13-year-old's wet dream and power fantasy. We're like he was too smart for the military. He was a loose cannon, so they put him under, he was on frozen orders. Basically, this dude, he just sits around and he watches anime and plays video games the whole time, and didn't everybody wish for this? Like, that created, he made him a military mastermind. I know as a kid, I was like, well, I play a lot of video games, so I'm pretty sure if, war breaks out, I could be a general because I played real-time strategy. Obviously, that would be a terrifying thought for those of you who have actually watched me play real-time strategy games now, but that's basically what the premise of what's going on here is that, we are naturally gifted, and we learn skills from playing video games and watching anime, and that makes us a fantastic general. Even though he keeps on winning, the Imperial Army as a whole is still the underdog. As for the wisdom of the decision, that's for future generations to decide. I must say it's remarkable how just one single corps has overturned the situation to this degree. We've been winning battles, basically. However, they have seized too many victories. I understand that is a typical problem in war. We're just being too successful right now. It will invite trouble if Shotaro Daihone becomes stronger than necessary. We all agree on this, do we not? Sure, it was also him who ordered Castle Matsumoto taken in his place. I would just wait until the enemy within leaves their refuge. They say he didn't summon Daihone to the mission. Such a self-confident man, let's see what he can do. So maybe this is another character. Kukuku, this is why I love my post as general. Is Kukuku like a laugh? I think maybe it might be. So this is episode 4. The game's divided into episodes, typically maybe 20 minutes to 30 minutes long, depending on whether or not you lose or whether you win. Foil the plot and conquer Castle Matsumoto. That's where we are right now. So we killed the train in my off-camera play. I killed the train. That prevents supplies from coming into the castle, which is a kingdom stronghold, and as such, they're under siege now. This is the enemy, by the way. This is cute little huge eyes lady. Colonel Kurara, I see the Imperial Army coming, ma'am. How many? Approximately 40,000. It's a great host made chiefly of assault tanks, ma'am. That's a lot, considering I'm only allowed to bring 7 tanks into a mission. Is the enemy commander nuts? Who would charge a castle with assault units? I would come with as much artillery as I could pack. Perhaps they have a shortage of them at the moment, ma'am. Moreover, we are besieged without the luxury of a supply route. Why don't they merely wait for us to lose our patience and leave? I have no idea, ma'am. Well, none of that matters. Just like planned, the time has come for my regiment to go into action as well. Okay, so I'm skipping through a lot of the dialogue, and the reason is, it doesn't really grab me that much. But the reason I'm showing this off is to give you a feel for the balance of the game. Again, you have the strategy stuff, and then you have the visual novel stuff. If you're the kind of person who is, and I don't mean this derisively, even though it's going to come out a little negatively. If you're the kind of person who doesn't mind sitting here for 15, 20 minutes, clicking through dialogue boxes, I don't find the story that fascinating, but surely it has appeal for some people. If you're the kind of person who's into this kind of storytelling style, and you like what you saw of the strategy stuff, pick it up. It's as easy as that. The strategy stuff is really great, in my opinion, at least from what I've played so far. The only caveat is this visual novel stuff completely kills the momentum, in my opinion. But if you like the visual novel stuff, then the whole thing is a nice synergistic package. It's a slam dunk, right? But if you're the kind of person who's not into the visual novel style of storytelling, then you are going to find yourself clicking kind of endlessly here, going through the story, and, there's story beats here, and there is some tutorialization here, but, I'm clicking as fast as I can, and you can see how long this is still taking. If you're actually reading these, this takes an awful long time. just to set up the mission. And everything seems to come out to basically like, you were watching video, or you were playing video games, and then this, like, no-nonsense lieutenant who's been sent to monitor you was like, hey, don't play video games, and you're like, whoa, anyway, and then you fight the enemy, and hopefully you win. But anyway, anyway, again, if you're the kind of person who's into this kind of stuff, I don't mean this to be derisive, it's just the kind of thing that doesn't hold very much appeal for me, and is the thing that makes this, like, not necessarily an easy game to recommend. It would be so great if there was just a scenario mode where you could just play against the AI and maybe you could set parameters, change the map around, change the layout, or if there was a multiplayer mode where you could actually play this against other human players. I mean, locally wouldn't really make sense, but online. Unfortunately, that doesn't exist. If it did exist, this would be a lot easier to recommend, even to people who are not necessarily drawn in by the visual and storytelling style, and the fact that it has an exhausting narrative. But it doesn't, so unfortunately that's where we are right now. So this is probably going to be where I end my Let's Look At of War of the Human Tanks, because what comes next is just a battle. I just wanted to show you, that was a pretty representatively long visual novel kind of segment. Like, they're long, they take a long time, and I spend most of my time with them just clicking through and being like, please get to the battle. This is not just like, I didn't just start by clicking through all the dialogue boxes. I actually read all of the dialogue for the first, whatever, 3 or 4 episodes that we've played here until we were on camera. And, you know, the story's fine. It moves, which is nice. It's not necessarily thrilling or that essential, I think. But anyway, I've said my piece on that. Now it's just like overkill, I'd say. So this is War of the Human Tanks. The strategy side of it, I think, is really cool. I would love to see it in a multiplayer context, or at least to have the ability to just run like scenarios or, you know, what's the word, scrimmages against the AI, basically, or a multiplayer mode. That would be awesome as well. But the story style, it's very story-driven, and the story I don't think necessarily has pulled me in. I think it's a little bit exhausting to have to click through so many dialogue boxes when the story is not necessarily that riveting. But if you're the kind of person that's into that visual novel side of things, and you're looking for a game with some really compelling gameplay during the actual gameplay segments as well, War of the Human Tanks might be right up your alley. For everybody else, it's a shame because I really love the strategy stuff, but I just think that the visual novel stuff is a little bit, it takes a little bit too much away from the experience for all but people who are diehard into that kind of stuff to make it an easy purchase. That being said, if you manage to pick it up, or if you can manage to hold off until like a Steam sale or something like that and pick it up just to experience the strategy stuff, maybe that's a little bit more tempting for you. As for right now, though, some people are going to be into this. Unfortunately, I don't think everybody's going to be in it. So it feels a little bit like it's a good game, but missed potential with the not having basically like a tactical or a way to just play the AI or you know, even better, a multiplayer mode. Anyway, I've said this like 1,000 times now. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. If you want to pick up War of the Human Tanks, it's $10 on Steam, $9 for its opening week sale, but I imagine that's over by now. By the time that this video goes up, there will be a link in the video description below to pick it up. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to click the like button. It does help out a great deal. And of course, subscribe if you want to see more first impressions in the future. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.